his work really parallel. So if you look at this is a comparison of cooked versus raw foods in cats. So this is B30. So in B30, regeneration, first order, hypothyroid. Notice in failure development is orbital right here. You have orbital arches of the brain, of the eye socket. The malar arches over here for the ear. Okay? Let's see, 508, second generation, first order meat kitten. Notice the smallness of the head, retraction of the mandible, and failure development of the orbital malar arches. So here's the mandible, here's the malar, here's the orbital. Okay? And then 534. Look at that. You see the difference between them. Okay, here's what I was just talking about. This girl was 4 years of age when Christ met her. Okay, you start to see some of the deficiencies in development through her facial. Right? Christ put her on a diet, a very specialized diet. And this is her at 10 years of age, 2 months. You no longer see as much of the problem. If she had been perfect, if her parents had had perfect, if she was born in one of those so-called primitive tribes where the parents had forced nutrition to be perfect when she was a child, probably not, but this is a lot better, as you can see. So it's a progressive thing, but the younger you start, the more important it is. And you can see this in her, these are theories applied, these are x-rays of the skull, and you can kind of see the changes from here to here. So you kind of see the development from here to here to there. You see that? Okay, so is our life expectancy longer? I'm going to give you kind of a little example here. Let's imagine a couple that lived at ages 71 and 76 and 71. One child that died at birth, the other at 2. Okay, so you got 70. These add together, divided by 4, would produce an average lifespan of 37.25. Okay, if you look at the way we're living today and the life expectancy, we're supposedly told that we have this increased life expectancy. Okay, if you take out all the people that are saved by emergency medicine, all the people that are subsisting on iron lungs or kidney dialysis, all the older folks with no quality of life, they're just hanging on through machines. All the people that would have died at birth, Mother Nature would have recycled them. Okay? We are living approximately 1.5 years longer than we did in 1840. And all that is attributed to sanitation improvements. Okay? So we've been sold a big lie. Okay? This is George Orwell. I don't know if any of you have ever seen 1984. But he says, he must be cut off from the past because it's necessary for him to believe that he's better off than his ancestors, and that the average rate of material comfort is constantly rising. Okay. So are we doing better? Okay. Degeneration, what are the implications in our society? I'm going to just ask you this. We're not going to answer these questions, but I want you to think about them. Can we get back to our potential? What is the main culprit of behavioral problems? Is it nature versus nurture? Okay. Well, nature versus nurture, a lot of people think, well, it's the genetics or it's the rearing of the child. It's the growth and development. The mother loved them. But these ideas completely miss the boat. Okay, if you have a piece of software but your hardware doesn't work with that software, it's not a problem with the software. It's a problem with the hardware. Okay, so you got to fix the hardware, and that's where our bodies are. Okay, so are you less than your potential due to a deficiency of nutrition? How important is our food? And how important is our food for the future of the human race and the future of the planet itself? Okay, that's my new logo, but I think I'm going to change it because I think it looks like it's got a perm, but I'm going to keep the body. But anyways, the name is Paleoathletics. My idea is really how we got these bodies that are developing, where we come from, how we got our brains, how we got our bodies. So we need to move, we need to eat, just like our ancestors, because we still have the same bodies that we had 10,000 years ago. We still have the same brains. Okay, current food production. Okay, closed organic cycle. This is the wheel of life. Okay, if you look at this, you start with plant nutrition, soil, which is humus and microorganisms. You have soil nutrition. Okay, the plants live in that soil and they grow from that soil. Then the animals eat the plants and the man eat the animals. Okay, so this is fully sustainable. Walter Russell calls it the love principle, where we all die, but we usually end up in the mouth of another. So each gives up its life for the continuance of nature. So as we die, we're going to become back into the soil. We're going to be eaten by those microorganisms that right now are helping you digest your food. Okay, so soil, where do our nutrients come from? Can a healthy plant grow in deficient soil? There's between 600 million to a billion microorganisms in 1 gram of soil. Just 1 little gram of soil is teeming with life. That's a healthy soil that we haven't touched and man stayed away from. Tens of thousands of different species of virus, fungi, and bacteria are also in that teaspoon of soil. They act as nature's garbage collectors. They get rid of the garbage. Okay? They recycle things and allow it to go back into that circle of life, the wheel of life. Fred Sykes was a famous organic farmer in England. He's known as one of the father of organic farming. He was an amazing family farmer, or organic farmer, sorry. He said soil organisms are the unplayed labor force of the farm, working constantly to break down not only the organic matter present in the soil, but also its complex minerals, so making them available to plants. Okay. So I got to ask you one question. And we're going to answer this at the end. I forgot to answer this. I was going to start this. But who is the most important healthcare practitioner that you know of? Okay. I want you to think about that question. Okay, so farm compost humus production. Humus is a crumb-like structure. It provides aeration, it holds water, and prevents soil erosion. And that's some humus. Humus, sorry, that's called Earth's digestive system. There's 2 phases of topsoil digestion. If you look at your digestive system, you can't get away from it. Okay, the healthier digestive system is the health of your body. Microorganisms and interaction with the soil is what we're going to talk about a lot. And plants, earthworms and their contribution. Okay, so the first phase of earth soil digestion, superficial soil about 1 to 12 inches. You have millions of beneficial microorganisms. They promote germination, flowering, fruiting, and ripening of plants. It improves physical, chemical, and biological environments of the soil, suppresses soil-borne pathogens and pests, and ensures better germination and plant establishment. Increases the efficacy of organic matter as fertilizer. Okay, so you have a couple different types. You have photosynthetic bacteria. They use sunlight and heat of soil for energy. They produce amino acids, nucleic acids, bioactive substances, and sugar, and they provide support mycorrhizae in the rhizosphere. And we'll get into what mycorrhizae are in a little bit. Lactic acid bacteria produce lactic acid from sugars derived from photosynthetic bacteria and yeast. Act as stabilizers, suppressing harmful microorganisms, and rapidly increase decomposition and the breakdown of organic matter such as lignin and cellulose. It does this by fermenting it. So lignin and cellulose are hard to digest. They're the tough particles. You know, that's when you eat those, that's what provide fiber in your diet. Those are basically fiber for us. They digest them. So yeast, they synthesize substances for plant growth from amino acids and sugars, such as photosynthetic bacteria, organic matter, plant roots, bioactive substances and hormones, enzymes. They help promote active cell and root division. They also create secretions used for microorganisms such as actinobacteria and lactic acid bacteria. This is some actinobacteria. They're the most common in soil life. They're very important for decomposition of organic matter and humus formation. This is, we talked about the lactic acid bacteria. This is the photosynthetic. This is kind of how it goes in the process of nitrogen fixing and how our nutrients are brought in from the sun and from these bacteria. This is kind of a who eats who kind of flow chart. And you kind of see this is how everybody eats. Okay. Paul Chek says if you go down there, if you shrink yourself down enough, it's crazy down there. There's all kinds of things. Bugs are eating bugs. Bugs are having sex. They're tearing stuff up down there. Okay, but they provide some important functions for us. Okay, this is a fungal feeding nematode. If you look at kind of the narrow spot right there, narrow beaks embracing the walls of fungal hyphae. Fungal hyphae is just kind of like a filament to withdraw fluid and releases plant available nitrogen from fungal biomass. I'm going to show you some fungal biomass in a little bit. This is a predatory nematode. He's eating another nematode. Okay. Fungi. 80% of all plants have a symbiotic relationship with fungi. 85% of the 350,000 plants humans can eat have this same relationship. Predatory fungi eat plant parasites. Their alchemical functions to balance the soil. They boost plant immunity. They actually excrete acids that are strong enough to break down rock, and they provide the minerals for the plants in exchange for the plants feeding them sap with sugar.